Hey guys, it's Jake, Sidor Media. I'm doing a small video series just about very basic Pro Tools things that you need to do. And I think a big one that will help you guys is setting up a template, because if you set up a recording template, when you have issues, you can always go back to this template and know it will work, because things can get kind of crazy in Pro Tools sometimes, and you could get lost. And this is a good way to not get lost. So when you pull up Pro Tools, you'll see something like this. It's asking you what type of template you want to use to record, or maybe you just say you don't create from a template. Right now, we're not going to create from a template. We're going to call this Tempe 2019. All right, so we're going to make a template, so we have to set it up. And this is a main thing that can get screwy. If you're creating a new session and you leave it as last used, and maybe your last session was not working correctly or whatever, or somebody else brought a session over, this is how it can get messed up. So we're going to make it so you can select the I/O setting. We're going to make a specific I/O setting that will always work for you. Right now we'll just do stereo mix. Everything else you can leave the same. Some people like doing 24-bit depth, but I just do 32. Sample rate, there's really no reason to go above 44.1. You can if you want. So we will create this. So we're going to make a new folder. We'll just call it temp. We're going to save Tempe 2019 in there, because this is how you make a template. You have to make a session. So before I started this video, I just kind of was tooling around in Pro Tools. But make sure this stuff's enabled. If you're on a single screen, enable this stuff. If you have dual screen, you can have your monitors wherever, your windows wherever. But highlight this. This is going to enable and disable the inserts, the sends, the I/O. You can have comments. Sometimes I do that. So we're going to set up stuff. I'm going to not use key commands. I was about to, but I don't want to pour all that. I don't want to give you guys key commands and setting up a template all in one video, because it might just be too much. So I haven't used these menus much for setting this stuff up, so I might be looking around more for the correct menu to go to. But we need to make some tracks. So we got to go to track. We'll keep it simple. We'll do 5 audio tracks, because that's going to give us a few tracks for main vocals, a few tracks for ad-libs or background vocals, whatever you call them. Then we need a stereo audio track for our beat, and we need to add some auxes. We'll do 4 stereo auxes, and we'll do 1 stereo master. So before we start labeling stuff, let's get our I/O setting set up correctly, just so that our template will be good to go. So hit setup. We're going down to I/O. Now I'm using Voicemeeter, so this is going to look a bit weird in here, but this is how it's going to look for me. For you, it's going to look different. What we're going to do, though, is just go over a few things with the I/O, because this is where you can get tripped up. So on your input tab, this is the inputs on your interface. Your interface is going to show up right here. All your inputs will show up here. If you only have 2 inputs, you're only going to see 2 of these. If you have 4, that's how it works. Now, if we uncollapse these, it's going to show us how it pairs up on a mono level. Input 1 on your device is going to be, in this case, VAIO 1 on my Pro Tools session. It's going to say something different on yours, but just remember, input 1 is going to this one. It's going to go to input 1 in the software, because you can drag this. You can make input 1, input 2. You could flip these around, whatever. You can move these. You can get pretty messy in here. Make sure everything's just 1-to-1. So input 1 to input 1 in the software. Input 8 is the input 8 in the software. All right? That one's easy to understand. Then you have your outputs. So if you have like a little Focusrite, what's it called? You know, the cheap one. It's like $100, whatever. You're probably only going to see this. You're probably only going to see this. That means you only have 2 outputs coming out of your interface. The audio is going out of the interface. It's different. It's not input, it's output. And this goes to your stereo. It's always going to go to your stereo, your first 2. Now you can switch that, because if we go to default, you can mess with this stuff. All right. Now if you have more outputs, that's what's going to show up here. And then you can do some cool stuff with routing, separate headphone mixes if you want to, or out to analog gear. I'm not going to get into that in this video, confuse you guys. We're just trying to learn the basics. Now your buses, I'm going to delete this real quick and hit default, so everything is in how it should be. Your buses is where you want to take a look at, because this is where the internal routing happens. And this is where we can save some time with making a template, with naming stuff and having stuff pre-routed in our template. So we know in a session we use reverb and we use delays practically every session, right? So we'll just set up our auxes, our buses. We'll just name them in here. It helps us out. I wonder if I do. No, that key command doesn't work. Reverb, delay 1/2, delay 1/4, 1/4 delay. So I would start making buses for processing you use every session. It just helps you out. All right. So we'll just do that. We'll keep it simple. But let's say we needed more buses to work with, because things can get crazy. We just can make a new path if we want stereo, which most likely you will. Sometimes people use stereo buses for certain things like side chaining and whatnot. You could come in here and create more, you know. And I believe in Pro Tools you can have unlimited. But we'll just add 9 more. We're not greedy. Let's make a stereo bus for Vox main. We'll use this template in other videos, these beginning videos too. I'm not going to talk much about the routing for this one just yet. Just because we are fooling around in our I/O, we don't have any output right now for Pro Tools, so it blues us out like this. Let's just go to output. I'm just holding down Alt, just a basic key command for Pro Tools. This just what you do on one track, if you're holding down Alt, will happen to every track. So I'm just telling it, hey, we're using output 1 and 2. and make sure your master has its output. That's one thing. The master track is somewhat independent from every other track. So even though I held down Alt, it still stayed as no output. Let's set up our auxes real quick. So I just double clicked on the name, aux1, reverb, next. Delay, 1/2, next. Delay, 1/4, next. Delay, 1/8. Okay. So we have everything named. Now we just have to make sure it's routed correctly. So that top slot's the input, the bottom slot, as you already know, is the output. So it has no input. It has no signal coming into it, but it's going to send out to the speakers. But you could even send this out to another bus. You know, that's where you can start routing stuff. But we need to select its input. And it's cool because we got everything named already. And 1/8. Now for our inputs, because it's a wrap type template, I'm going to keep on the same input. I am not using a key command for this. There's a way quicker way of doing all that. And so now our input, no matter what track is enabled, your one vocal mic is going to be recording, okay? And then we'll name this beat. We'll change the color. I just double clicked on that color. We're gonna, I kind of like that green. I kind of like the muted, but our auxes are green. I guess we gotta go with purple. Just do one more thing. So we got our I/O set up just the way we want it and how we want it for every session, right? So even though we're making a template doesn't save the I/O settings to it. So you need to export the settings of the I/O. So we hit that. It's asking us, we're in the I/O settings folder in the Pro Tools folder. We're just going to name it Tempe. So there's Tempe. And one thing about I/O, sometimes even though we made this setting, and I'm going to show you how to load it in, sometimes you'll load it in and things just won't be right. What I do is I just delete the input, the output, and the buses just to get everything on the same page, and then I will go and import my settings. Sometimes I've had to do this a couple times, but now I'm going to re-import Tempe. And Tempe has helped us because now we got our buses back, our naming, all that. So just make sure you remember that even though I'm using this template, my I/O settings might be from a different session still. So watch out for that. Then we're going to save this as a template. We're going to label it Tempe 2019. Now, where it says category is where when you're creating a new session, it's called group. That's how it can throw you off. You can make your own folder, whatever, and start saving session templates in there. We'll leave it Tempe 2019. No, Tempe 2020. Not 2010. 2020. Vote for Tempe. And right here you could include media. So say you have a saying you say at the beginning of every song. Well, before you save this template, record it. Either leave it on the timeline or leave it in your audio bin, and then hit include media So every time you load up this template, that audio will be in the session already, and it will save you time. So we hit OK, and that's it. We'll just show that it works. All right, we're creating a session. I want to create from a template. See, template group. So, you could be over here. Just make sure you go to the correct folder. Select Tempe 2020 and select your I/O settings. Make sure you select Tempe. Then boom, you hit create. It's going to ask you, all right, where are you saving the session? We're just going to save it here. And there you go. You're ready to rock. You got everything labeled, named. All your inputs are correct. They're ready to go. And that's it. There's some stuff I would change to this template that I didn't, but we'll go over that stuff in a different video. Follow along, make a template like I did, and then when I load up the next video, pull up your template and make the changes that I make with this template, and you'll be on the same page as me. But that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share the videos. If you got a buddy who just started Pro Tools, have them check it out. And if you need me for mixing, if you have a question, if you need me for mixing, go to Fiverr. Check out my gig over there. Fiverr.com/JakeH111. It's going to bring you... Yeah. And I just got a new gig. If you need a producer's tag for any reason, I'll give you a discount on the premium mix. For subscribers, it's only $70. Just contact me. Just hit this little button, contact me, and then it will allow me in our messaging to make a custom order for you. I'll make a order that's exactly this. It'll just be $70 because you're a subscriber. But yeah, that's it, guys. Yeah, if you need to contact me, my email is in the description, or Instagram. That's another way you can get in contact with me. But that's it for today, guys. We'll pick this up in another video, and we'll do some more things to our template. All right, peace out.